Welcome to the Next Wave podcast. I'm Matt Wolf, and today's guest is building what he calls the last piece of software the world will ever need. Anton Osika is the CEO of Lovable, a platform that lets anyone build fully working software just by describing what they want. No code, no dev team, just your ideas and AI. In this episode, we talk about what that means for the future of software development, entrepreneurship, and even AGI. Anton shows off a live demo of Lovable, shares how kids and solo founders are launching real businesses in just hours, and breaks down how this tech could level the playing field for creators everywhere. If you're building anything, tools, products, businesses, this conversation might just change how you think about the whole process. So let's dive in with Anton from Lovable. Hey, Anton, thanks for joining us on the show. How are you doing today?
It's great to see you, Matt. I'm good.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I don't want to waste your time. Let's just jump right into it and let's talk about Lovable. So I'm curious a little bit about your backstory. What were you doing before Lovable? How did Lovable come about? Why did you decide to build it? Let's get the background a little bit.
Yeah, sure. I can go back to my childhood. No, but I decided to study at university with as everyone did then. And then I thought computer science. No, I'm gonna go into physics because that was like where with all the people who became the most generalist, both in academia and in the industry, studied here in where I'm from in Stockholm, Sweden. What I realized, I was at this place where they discovered the Higgs boson, the particle accelerator in CERN for 3 months. I was like, oh, amazing! There's 10,000 super smart people here, but they're trying to solve a problem that is very hard to solve. It's like very inelastic. You don't have any real world impact. And I'm obsessed about impact and like making things happen. So I understood I'm not going to be staying on this track in academia. So I went into building things in the industry. And for the last 10 years, I've been building AI products and specifically building great teams that build AI products together. And then a bit more than 1.5 years ago, I decided to start a new company, which is what I'm building now.
You said at one point that you're trying to build the last piece of software. What does that mean?
Yeah, sure. I can take you to what spurred us starting the company Lovable. And look, this was like early 2023 that it was clear to me like this next generation of AI can actually start reason, and it's specifically good at writing code. If you put it into an advanced system where like the reasoning engine is used to take this decision on behalf of a human, then you're going to be able to build a completely new type of interface to build software products. And this AI is going to help developers become more productive. But the more interesting unlock here is for the 99% who never learned how to code. So this new interface that is like you talk to an AI and it builds your product. You build it together with AI. It's going to let the 99% go from 0 to 1 and enable anyone to unlock this their creativity to build great companies, to just create things, create great software, and to build businesses on top of it. So that's what we're set out to do. And the last piece of software is this: like it's a platform to build software products, and it's going to make sure that you don't need to write, humans don't need to write code anymore if they don't want to.
Gotcha. So with that in mind, what do you think the role of like a software developer or a software engineer, what does that look like in the future?
I talk to people who ask me this, like, Anton, what should I do? Like, I'm an engineer. and I think engineers should just always put on the hat of and seeing themselves as the person who translates a real world problem into a technical solution. And that means different things depending on what type of engineer you are, and it changes over time what you do. And using AI is, of course, going to be a larger part of that translation. Now, I think what happens when you have AI that makes it faster to create software is that there's going to be just much more software, and there's going to be more iteration cycles to make each piece of software very, very good. And like the jargon for that in some tech companies is make them lovable. So I think that's actually the end outcome of this like lowering the barriers through AI and new platforms like ours, making it very, very easy to just take an idea, write it in, and you get a full working product.
Right. I almost see it as like like with a symphony, right? It's almost like taking the people that are playing the instruments and moving them to the conductor. Right now, everybody can be the conductor, and you're all you're telling the various instruments what to do now. Instead of actually being the player of the instrument, you get to become the conductor.
Yeah, it's very fun. It hooks people.
Yeah, and one thing that I've loved about this sort of new era of like AI software development is I don't need to necessarily build a SaaS product that I'm going out and trying to like raise capital on or sell it on a monthly fee or anything like that. I can find like little tiny bottlenecks in my business, little like holes of things that I'm like, all right, that is kind of a pain in the butt. I don't like doing that every day. Let me build a little software for myself that just fixes that for me. I can build it for myself and not have to worry about like trying to build a business around it. And I think that is one of the coolest things that software like this enables, in my opinion.
Yeah, the personal software trend is also very big. It's getting larger.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and like maybe jump into Lovable and give a quick demo, show people what it's sort of capable of. I know you have a project that you kind of already started working on that we can jump in and tweak with. And
sure. I prepared a project right ahead of a call. What I wanted to have, in that call, I was going to be asked questions, and you can use it to ask me questions. It's like a webinar Q&A app, so anyone can answer, input a question. And I'll just focus first on what happened as I built this out. Okay. So I basically went to Lovable, which looks like this, and I put in the first prompt, which was mock up a webinar submit question app. So then I didn't want it to be a fully working product where it works across devices, just a mock-up. And then Lovable went ahead and said like, okay, hey, I'm going to build this for you. I'm going to choose some like simple design. So then what happened was I got this mock-up UI you can see here. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't sync across devices. So if someone opens this website in one place and enters a question, I don't see it. So I just asked AI, how do I do that? And that's a big part of the way of working with AI is if you don't understand, you can just ask.
Okay, let's be honest. Your AI prompts aren't giving you the results you deserve. But with a little coaching, you can transform from basic prompts to engineering conversations that get you exactly what you want from ChatGPT. That's what this playbook delivers. Not just random prompts, but a step-by-step system with the exact techniques top AI professionals use every day. You'll have your own personalized prompt engineering system that delivers consistent results. Get it right now. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description below. Now let's get back to the show.
Yeah. One thing that I like about what you're showing here too is that it actually recommended Supabase, right? Like if you're trying to develop a software and you don't necessarily know much about software, you might not know that you need this to be connected to a backend database. So it's cool to me that it's going, hey, we could build this for you, but you also needed a database. Here's what we recommend.
Yep. No, this is a native integration at this point, because most startups and like simple projects that are successful, they start on Supabase. So it's a very popular choice. So what they did then is they told me like, okay, you need to just connect Supabase. And then what I did, I went up here and said, connect to a new project. Now it's connected. Now you can go ahead and add AI functionality, login, or just store data. So I said, add real-time sync as it explained. And then it says, I'm going to create a table, like the place to store the questions. Mm-hmm. And I'll change some in the UI to handle it, to connect to the database. And then I pressed, I had to approve, like, okay, run this code. I got an error. And then I said, okay, I fixed the error. And then it worked. And so that's what happened when I built this. And if I just open this application, or I can send it to you as well, it's Q&A.lovable.app. If you go in here and you ask me a question, it should synchronize real time across any number of devices, which is a really like useful, simple tool. And no one has to log in. It's just like you scan the QR code. I ask for a QR code afterwards, and then I can always pick up this app if I want to have a Q&A session with a company or with someone I'm presenting to.
Let's see, what is the coolest app you've seen built with Lovable? Let's see, submit question.
Okay, that worked.
So I actually typed that on my screen, but you're seeing it on Anton's screen if you're watching the video.
Yeah, awesome. So that's a good question. What's the coolest app I've seen built? I think I saw a better version of ChatGPT, which I liked. Like it had more keyboard shortcuts and way to like customize each thread. I really like that because a lot of the innovation right now actually happens on the AI intersection, the user interface, like the user experience side, and that was one of the really cool apps I saw. It's also fun to see like people are launching. We built a Lovable App for people to launch their what things they build, and
it's almost got like a
and then you
Reddit
can
style of those.
yeah, exactly. And you get like for projects that have been around, there's lots of people getting users through this, and I haven't seen all of them, but there's so many cool things that people build. That was just like me demoing how Lovable works. What I could do next is to just show you like how the AI handles a change. Even if I want something to happen instantly, because the AI is not instant, I could show you that like something you can do here is that you can edit text and style by just selecting it, similar to a website editor.
So you don't need to wait for the AI to make little sort of
for small changes. Exactly. But let me first ask you something. Do you have any style you really like to see this in?
I mean, I typically like my websites in dark mode, and I always like to use like blues and purples, like my background. Those are the colors I like to use.
So we'll say, I can spell, and we'll say something about like, and a cool hacker font, and just make it look better. What I sometimes do is I just attach a screenshot to the AI. I pasted it in here for it to see like how does it look now. Let's make it look more beautiful. But this is just how Lovable works. You can do some more things, like you can customize knowledge if you wanted to remember, like always use this way of connecting to an API that you wanted to use or on some type of integration. If you want to edit the code if you want your engineer colleague to edit it, it's all kept two-way synchronized for them to go to GitHub, which is like how engineers build software to date. And you can invite collaborators. So I could send you this link, and then you'll be able to edit this project if you want to. So that's most of it. We're waiting for the AI to run the change here, and the last part that a lot of people are wishing to do here now is to add the custom domain, which is you might want to host, you might want to buy just a website domain for your project, and I think you can even do that inside of Lovable now.
So does Lovable host the whole thing, and then you're just sort of pointing your domain name to Lovable?
Yeah, I can just select the domain here. I don't think this domain is free. I'll pay inside of this flow, and then it's all hosted. Like we're using state-of-the-art hosting infrastructure all with one click. Yeah,
but I imagine if somebody did want to export all the code and bring it over to their own host or whatever, they could do that as well.
Yeah, it's all like super flexible. You can do anything that a human engineer would like to do with this setup. Here's our new style. I'm not sure I love it, but
hey, but it did what you asked.
Yes, that's true.
That's super cool. So one of the things, like when it comes to using AI for code that I've ran into a few times is like I'll have it build something, and then there'll be a bug. And then I'll say, hey, this bug is popping up. Can you fix it? It'll fix that bug and then maybe introduce a new bug. Or it'll keep on like having that same bug over and over and over again.
Yep.
And I know a lot of the LLMs have gotten better and better and better over time. We've now got Claude 4. We've got Gemini 2.5 Pro. A lot of these LLMs have gotten a lot better at coding. But I'm curious, like, how does Lovable specifically like maybe help overcome some of that kind of frustration that like the vibe coders might have?
Yeah. So Lovable is not just a call to Claude, like the new Claude model. It does like an agentic chain, which is that it tries to understand, okay, what's the context here? Like exactly what information is most relevant to solve the specific problem that you're having. If you're seeing a repeated bug, like that's not one type of situation. And then we're applying best practices that we've kind of iterated ourselves towards to solve that specific type of context that you're in. Okay, you're stuck with the same type of bug. and we feed in some of those best practices that are like adopted to work for the specific technology stack that Lovable applications are built on. So that's what we do to date. But and another important thing is that we give access to like what human engineers use to debug, which is the AI is able to read all the error messages, like all the logs or that are created as the user interacts with the website. So that's fed into the AI system. So then you can see that it can, like, if there's a bug, it can really get much more of a picture of like what actually happened here, and then use that in terms of figuring out the error. But that's what takes most time for most software engineers to understand what is it exactly that goes wrong. It doesn't work. It's not like it's like not sufficient information to fix it. So those are some of the things we're doing, and we're working on a lot more.
Very cool. So this is sort of getting more into the like theoretical, philosophical kind of area, but I'm curious, like, when everybody has access to be able to develop any software, how do companies like actually build a moat? Like, have you thought about that at all? Like, how would a software company actually build something if like anybody else can just go and use a tool to build the same thing? Like, how do businesses get formed around this kind of thing?
I mean, you don't need a moat to build a great business. I don't think so. I mean, most of the moats are the same. I think there is a bit of a moat in terms of just trust and just knowing who's behind this, that this is like these people who built this have my best intentions at heart. Right. And that will always remain. Then there are like network effect moats. There's like maybe at some point there's an economy of scale as well, like that you can make it give a better value proposition because you're larger. That hasn't shown to be so useful in software businesses, but maybe that's going to be the case in the future as well.
Yeah. So I want to shift the conversation quickly to the topic of AGI, because I know in the past you've also mentioned that you want to help contribute to getting to AGI. How would you define AGI? Because I feel like obviously everybody kind of has a slightly different definition. And then the sort of follow-up to that is like, how does Lovable or what you're trying to build sort of get us closer to that?
Yeah. My favorite definition is that at the point when anything you could hire a human remote worker for can be done with AI, that's when you have AGI. And it hedges you against that humans can do some things that only humans can, because we humans don't want to talk to a machine. We want to talk to a human. But if it's a remote, then like a remote and over Slack, I think that then it's only cognitive labor. It's a pure cognitive labor. But how do we get there? Building systems that write and execute code is a huge part of this. And increasingly what I'm thinking is that we are not going to work on this like foundation model layer. We're creating the most delightful and intuitive interface to interface with with the technology. And now it's for spinning up software, and that's hosted, available for anyone. In the future, we're naturally adding a lot more types of interactions into our interface, like, browse the web for me and find all this interface, these things, and then put them into a website. Or even like, okay, can you check for all the feature requests from my email and then implement some of them? Like that's the type of direction we would go for on the very long term. And that type of interface is going to be one of the most important things in how humans perceive the level that AI has reached, right? Like, it's a good friend of mine told me way back 10 years ago, like, the AI is never better than the UI. So if you can't, as a human, get value from it, then it's worthless, right?
Yeah. Do you think that like the future of UI, the future of user interface, is going to be what it is now, where people are sort of typing prompts and we have these sort of visual user interfaces, or do you think it's going to switch to some alternate modality?
We don't know what it's going to be yet. It's going to be a combination of things. Like, us humans are really good at getting a lot of information visually. So that's going to be continue to be a big part. And like, we're not as good as getting a lot of information in by reading text, I think, as like just looking at a picture and boom, you get a lot of information really fast.
Right.
So that's going to be a part of it. And then in how you as a human communicate as much information as possible to an AI, which is going to be important as well. I mean, at some point, though, I do think we're going to see more and more adoption of like brain-computer interfaces, but just speaking or lip reading, or it might be like an emerging pattern UX-wise with AI.
Yeah. And I had some chats with people over at like Microsoft and Google and that sort of thing. And sort of their position is that they want AI to be much more predictive, right? Like it knows what you want to do before you ask it to do the thing, right? It's gonna get to this point where it starts to understand you, it understands your patterns, it understands what you do on a daily basis, anticipates it, and then just gets ahead of you on it. So I don't know. To me, that's like a real sort of fascinating future that we're heading into with AI.
100%. Yeah, that's huge. We spoke to one of our users recently, Felipe, who I think it was a very fun story where he had built large companies before. He raised $50 million, hired 130 engineers, and he's past that. And he's just building a business himself with using Lovable. And then he can like take all the ideas instantly, and it moves so much faster, which is a bit paradoxical to having this large organization where there are many chains of communication. And it sounds very productive to have 130 engineers, right? But he's making tens of thousands of dollars on this small new business that he's growing organically. This is like the stereotypical AI native founder that I think is going to be, we're going to hear a lot more from in how one person can build much faster than larger companies. And where they let AI do more and more, just the building part, but also the marketing side, and all of that is going to be like one human and a lot of AI systems. So that's what we're seeing. But what also inspires me a lot is that kids love to use Lovable because they are super creative, right? They love to create things. And I've seen many like 14-year-olds and even younger who post their like they're selling something online, or they're offer their services to walk the dogs with a website built on Lovable. And increasingly now, since we launched the Teams plan recently, Lovable is getting huge in larger companies, like Fortune 500 companies, where individuals in teams, they accelerate how the team and the entire company takes decisions, and both in the terms of like, okay, we should really build this thing. Look, I've already built it. It's working. Then you look in engineering, and for building tools that just accelerates like finance, the marketing, building landing pages, and all of that. So it's fun that it's a tool that's being used for so many different things, and we're just keeping up on our side.
Yeah, I think last year at some point, Sam Altman from OpenAI mentioned that he thinks within the next couple of years, we're going to see the first $1 billion company built by one person, right? And then Dario just from Anthropic just said it again like 2 weeks ago that he thinks within the next, within 2026, we'll probably see the first one-person $1 billion company, which just absolutely wild. Also mentioning you mentioned kids are building apps. I actually had a conversation with Kevin Scott, the CTO of Microsoft, and he told this whole story about how his daughter built an entire app for her school, and he was frustrated because she didn't even consult with him, and he's a software developer. She just went and built it herself. I mean, what you're saying, we're definitely seeing more and more of.
Yeah, it's fun that kids are going to be, of course, better than like older people generally to use AI, and it's going to be such a big difference in how productive you are if you're good at using AI.
Yeah. So I have one like small rabbit hole I want to go down with you really, really quickly. I'm curious how the developer community as a whole has received something like Lovable, because I know, some developers probably absolutely love it. It speeds up their time, but then there's also that sort of existential fear that their skill that they've been building is no longer needed. So how has the reception been so far?
If you just look at the product and the features, a lot of developers love that you just create a fully working application, and then if you want to go in and customize, use your normal ID, you just sync it with the sync your code base, and then you're getting more done, and you're shipping more value to your customer, your employer, and that's like a very positive reception generally. If you do zoom out and you're like, oh, but wait, where is this actually headed?
Yeah.
Then it is the case that people are like, wait, what's my role in this in all of this AI race? But I think it's not so different from and like anyone working in as a like white collar jobs, that
Right.
everything is going to be easier and easier to automate. If you're on top and master these tools, you're going to be much more valuable in the workplace. But otherwise, like, you're not going to maybe have as cushy job as a software engineer has been. But you're going to have to combine that with like doing sales or doing like maybe doing something more manual as well. That's there's going to be a potentially in the long term reduction in how many people sit and build software.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And, like you mentioned, a lot of the white collar work is in that same boat, right? Like if your job is sitting around looking at Excel spreadsheets all day, or bookkeeping, or doing research for a law firm, a lot of that work is also going to probably get automated away through AI fairly quickly too.
And just one thing on the software, the demand for software doesn't end. Like, seems to be a lot of things that can be improved with software, and hence there's going to be more people building software, maybe fewer people writing code. That's how I see it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That makes a lot of sense to me. Well, Anton, this has been absolutely amazing. I know you have to get off to another meeting, so I don't want to waste any more of your time. So the app is over at lovable.app. That's the best place to go to get it?
Yeah, or lovable.dev is the normal one.
Oh, lovable.dev. Okay, so head over to lovable.dev. Is there any place that you maybe want people to follow you on social media or anything like that after listening to this interview?
I share fun takes on building from Europe and on the AI space, and what's happening at with our advancements at my Twitter. That's my first and last name combined.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me and having this conversation. It's been really fun, and really excited to see how Lovable evolves over time. So really appreciate it. Thank you.
And likewise, it was a pleasure. I'm looking forward to another chat in the future.